Today's story is absolutely devastating, but it's simply because today the story is about a sister who finds out a secret about her brother's fiancé. This fiancé is not a good person. OP overheard while she was in the bathroom the fiancé talking to her sister, saying that, "Oh, Jake is so easy to scam. I can just take his money weekly and put it into cryptocurrency and he doesn't even know it's gone. I've also started to drain the inheritance." Well, obviously, when OP hears about this, she starts freaking out. She runs to tell everybody, which is her biggest mistake. She goes up in front of everyone at the dinner and tells all the family members what she just overheard, but this completely backfires on her. A lot of commenters are saying you should have pulled your brother aside and told him what you found out so he can do some investigating himself, but that's not what happened. Guys, all this was in the first post. I have every single update, every single comment from OP, and let me tell you, this one's pretty juicy. Let's jump into it. I publicly exposed my brother's fiancé for stealing $40,000 at their engagement party and was disowned by my family. 3 months later, he showed up at my door at 2 a.m. with proof that she was cheating with my stepdad's personal trainer and stealing even more money. I never meant for any of this to happen. My brother Jake, 32 male, and I, 29 female, have always been close, even through our parents' messy divorce when we were teens. We were each other's wrong, but now he won't even look at me, and I'm starting to wonder if I deserve it. Last month was Jake's engagement party to Marissa, 31 female. They've been together for 3 years, and she's always been kind to me. The party was at this upscale restaurant that our stepfather, Robert, rented. Everything was going perfect. Good food, champagne, all the right people there to celebrate. About halfway through that night, I went to the restroom. As I was washing my hands, I overheard 2 women in the stalls talking. I immediately recognized one voice as Marissa's sister, Kimmy. The other took me a moment, but then I realized it was Marissa herself. "He doesn't suspect anything," the sister said. Marissa laughed and said not a thing. "Jake's so trusting, it's almost too easy. He thinks I'm just being responsible with our joint account." "How much have you diverted so far?" "Almost 40 grand. I've got it invested in crypto under a separate name. Once we're married, I'll have access to his inheritance too." "Mom would be so proud," Kimmy said, and they both laughed. I stood there frozen. The inheritance they mentioned was from our grandmother who passed away last year. Jake got most of it because he was her caretaker. It wasn't millions, but it was substantial, about 300,000. I waited until they left and spent 5 minutes hyperventilating inside of the bathroom. Should I tell Jake? I thought. Would he even believe me? I never liked confrontation, but this was my brother's future. When I returned to the party, Jake was giving a toast. He looked so happy, raising his glass to Marissa, calling her his perfect match and the most honest person he'd ever met. Something in me snapped. I stood up, glass in hand, and asked if I could say a few words. Robert looked surprised but nodded encouragingly. My hands were shaking so badly I thought I'd drop my champagne. "I want to toast to honesty, to partnerships built on trust, to financial transparency." I looked directly at Marissa. "To not stealing $40,000 from your fiancé and hiding it in cryptocurrency." The room went dead silent. Jake stared at me like I had grown a second head, and Marissa's face drained of all color, and then chaos erupted. Marissa starts to cry, saying I'm a liar. Jake pulled me aside, his grip painful on my arm, demanding to know what the hell I was doing. I told him exactly what I overheard, and he didn't believe me. Said I was jealous because my own relationship ended so poorly last year. Robert stepped in, trying to smooth things over, suggesting we discuss this privately. But the damage was done. Half the guests were awkwardly leaving, and the other half openly gawking. Jake and Marissa left together. She was sobbing into his shoulder while shooting venomous glares at me, and Robert was furious, telling me I ruined everything with unsubstantiated accusations, and my mom just looked disappointed. Over the next few days, I kept calling Jake, but he would not answer. I sent text explaining exactly what I heard, begging him to at least check their finances, and nothing. A week later, my mother called to tell me Jake and Marissa had eloped at Vegas, and that I was not welcome at their housewarming party next month, or any family gathering for the foreseeable future. I truly believed I was protecting my brother, and I thought he deserved to know who he was marrying. But now I'm cut off from the person who matters most to me, and I'm starting to wonder if I should have just kept my mouth shut. I'd pulled him aside privately instead of announcing it to everybody, if I'd actually had proof beyond an overheard conversation. Did I do the right thing, or did I blow up my brother's happiness because of something I might have misunderstood? Well, I don't know. What's up, everybody? So today's story does have an update, and a lot of the comments are saying that OP was in the right, but maybe OP should have gone about it differently, maybe contacting the brother low-key and not in front of a giant group of people. There's 3 comments, and one of the commenters are from OP. Let's check out the first comment from Cold Brew Chaos saying, "Sorry, not the a-hole. You heard what you heard, and your brother is being manipulated, and he's too love-blinded to see it. When this all comes crashing down, and it will, he'll remember you tried to warn him. Sometimes being right does not feel good at all." Comment number 2 from Pineapple Upside Down 73. "You're the a-hole massively. You had zero proof beyond an overheard conversation you might have misinterpreted. You could have pulled your brother aside privately instead of humiliating him in front of everyone. Or better yet, mind your own business. His finances are not your problem." And that's when OP chimes in, and this one is referring to Cold Brew Chaos. The first commenter says, "Thank you. But it doesn't feel like being right matters if I've lost my brother. We used to talk every day, and now there's just silence. I keep checking my phone, hoping for a text from him, and the worst part is, wondering if I made the wrong call. What if I misheard? What if there's some explanation I don't understand? I just want my brother back." Guys, the next update came out exactly 3 months later, but I do want to know, which of those comments do you agree with most? Let me know down below in our comment section. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alright, here's the first update 3 months later. It's been 3 months since my last post, and everything has changed again, and I'm still processing it. 2 weeks ago, Jake showed up at my apartment at 2 a.m. He looked terrible, unshaven, red-eyed, clothes rumpled like he had been sleeping in them. I barely recognized him. "You were right," he uttered when I opened up the door. I let him in, made some coffee, and listened. After they eloped, Marissa pushed hard to combine all their accounts. Jake, still angry with me, went along with it, but something I said must have struck him, because he started paying more attention to their finances. He discovered not just the missing $40,000, but another $30,000 she borrowed from their joint account after the wedding. When confronted, Marissa broke down and admitted everything. She's been in massive debt from failed business ventures and saw Jake's inheritance as her way out. The cryptocurrency story was true. She had been hiding the money under her sister's name. You want to know the worst part? Jake found text messages between Marissa and 3 different men. She'd been cheating on him throughout their relationship, and one of the guy was Robert's personal trainer. My stepdad knew about the affairs, but kept quiet because he thought Marissa was good for Jake's career prospects. Jake filed for divorce immediately, and he's staying with a friend while sorting out the legal mess. Marissa is threatening to take half of everything, including what's left of the inheritance, and my brother is absolutely devastated. Not just by her betrayal, but by his own refusal to listen to me. "I chose her over my own sister. I'm so sorry." The family is absolutely fractured now. Mom's furious with Robert for hiding the affairs, and Robert is angry at me for starting all of this drama. Most of Marissa's family has blocked all of us on social media except for her younger brother, who actually messaged me to apologize. Apparently, Marissa has pulled similar stunts before. Jake and I rebuild our relationship. He's not the same carefree person anymore. There's a weariness to him that breaks my heart. Yes, he is going to therapy, which I do think is helping. We've started having weekly dinners together, just the 2 of us, like we did when we were kids. I'm relieved he now knows the truth, but this victory feels so hollow. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted Marissa to be the person my brother thought that she was. Now I'm watching him try to pick up the pieces of his life. And sometimes I still wonder if ignorance would have been kinder, at least for a little while longer. The hardest part to reconcile is that in trying to protect my brother, I set off a chain reaction that still ended with him getting hurt, just in a different way. And maybe less severely in the long run, but seeing him in pain is still seeing him in pain. You know? Jake says I gave him the gift of truth even if he didn't want it at the time. I hope he's right. I hope someday he finds someone worthy of his trust again. I don't know. Comment number 1 from the final post, but guys, first, I want to know what you think. So, a lot of the people were discussing saying, hey, if you would have just approached your brother a little bit differently, maybe behind closed doors, not in front of a group of people, he might have listened to you and started investigating for himself, and maybe he would not have ended up in this mess. Yes, OP did try to help him out, but maybe she went about it the wrong way. I would like to know your thoughts on this, and maybe someone listening has been in a similar situation. Let's go ahead and check out a few comments before we check out what OP has to say. Comment number 1 from Glass Windows Soul. Your brother is lucky to have you. A lot of people would have backed down when he pushed you away, but you stuck to your guns. That took real courage. The temporary pain of truth is always better than a lifetime built on lies. Hope your brother heals from this and you two become even closer. Comment number 2, this one is from TruthSeeker415, says, am I the only one who thinks this was still not OP's place? Yeah, she was right, okay, but she could have handled it so much better. And now she's acting like some kind of hero when her brother's life is in shambles. You didn't save him, you just changed the timeline of his inevitable pain, and that stepdad sounds like a real piece of work. This is the response from OP, replying to the last commenter. I don't feel like a hero at all. I feel like somebody who had to make an impossible choice and still isn't sure if I've made the right one. You're right that I could have handled this all better. The public announcement was impulsive and came from a place of shock. If I could do it all over, I'd had talked to Jake privately first, but I can't change that now. All I can do is be there for him while he rebuilds. And yes, my relationship with Robert is probably beyond repair at this point, but that's a price I'm willing to pay for standing by my brother. Guys, this is a hard story, and the reason I say that is OP was coming from a place of help. They were really trying to help her brother, but it just didn't work out and it backfired. Even though OP was right, it still did not save the marriage. It still did not stop her brother's wife from draining the account and putting it in cryptocurrency. If you guys could be in OP's shoes, and you could say one thing to OP, how would you handle this? I would love to know your opinion on this story because, man, just one little sentence said in private compared to saying in front of a crowd could have been the difference in this whole story. Let me know down below. Once again, if you're new to the channel, my name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every single day. All sorts of things. Confessions, inheritance, am I the a-holes, neighbor stories. I mean, it goes on and on. I hope to see you guys tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.